You are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And it's here. Yes, summer is over, but we can finally bet the real thing.
Yeah, I was looking at my Twitter feed, and there was somebody from ESPN was tweeting down how many days left till football season started. And I was just thinking about it. It just seems like yesterday he was at 70. And we're at 2 today. 1 when we're recording this, because it's already Wednesday. And we're one day, about a day and a half away.
I have no idea where the
football.
summer went, but hey, if summer has to end, at least we've got football. Though we did finish on our usual out with a whimper, not a bang for the preseason. After finally cashing our first preseason bet the previous week, we once again scored nothing in week 4. And I have one thing to say about it. Tebow, you fucked us for the last time.
Yeah, nobody's picking him up.
And he threw that absurd 3 yards too high pass that the receiver went up for and then missed tackling and then went in for the touchdown. Fuck you, Tebow. I know you're the son of God, but I'm not sorry to see you go from a gambling perspective.
We'll see him in a CFL jersey before we see him in an NFL jersey again.
Oh, and he won't even make a CFL club.
We can't throw. He can't throw on a narrow field. How is he throwing on the wide field in Canada?
He has no accuracy. He can't make the outs on an NFL field. Yeah, it's not going to happen unless he swallows his pride, which is something, by the way, his mentor recommended, and becomes a fullback or a tight end. His football career is over.
Yeah, in the NFL, why wouldn't he go to Belichick and say, "I'll play fullback"? They'd have kept him.
I think he must have. Yeah, exactly. I think that he must have said, "No, I'm a quarterback."
Because they're short on tight ends. Why didn't they work him at tight end?
That's always been my preference. Maybe his hands are concrete. Fine, fullback.
Well, no, but he could be a blocking tight end. I'm sure you could catch
I think
a 5-yard
he's a good enough
pass.
athlete, yeah, that he could fit into one of those possessions. I do think pride is taking him down. But anyway, so we lost preseason, but that is in the rearview mirror. Oh, you had more to say.
But you know what Belichick was doing? This is what pisses me off. If they throw in some fourth string, because they knew they were cutting Tebow, so they're trying to give him a chance that somebody may pick him up. If they put in their normal fourth stringer, we win that bet. Like everybody else plays, like the Giants played, like every other team played. Their fourth quarterback that they're going to cut on.
Yeah.
Anybody but Tebow, who plays every game like it's his last, because generally it usually is. He fucks us. And what bugs me is that we didn't think of it.
He's been a nightmare nemesis for us since he came into the league. And
oh, yeah, he fucked us that playoff game with Pittsburgh, too.
yeah, he fucked us that game. There was another game where we actually bet on him. And he came out with a scintillating 5 for 17 performance.
Oh, I know.
And something, he has not treated us well. I am not sorry to see him gone. This is not an anti-Christian statement. I'm just tired of the man.
It is from me.
Okay. Well, let's
I
get
just wanted to get that point in.
Oh, okay. And, well, as I said before, something the original JC said was against pride. So, let's get to some real games, some real gambling. So, what we're doing this week is we're back to our 3 bets of $10 each. We'll configure them however the week looks. This week we have an extra special package. We're getting a free bet on a 6-game parlay from the gambling site we favor, Sports Interaction. So that will be discussed, and we're going to go through the games. First up, as probably anyone listening to this podcast knows, is Baltimore, because of some bizarre scheduling snafu. The Super Bowl champions are on the road in Denver Thursday night, and they are a meaty 7-point underdog.
And I don't want to touch this game.
Me either.
I don't know what Denver has on defense for a pass rush. They lost Doomerville, and Von Miller's out the first 6 games for some bizarre didn't want to pee in a cup thing for a drug test, or I don't know what the hell's going on with their defense.
Champ Bailey's supposedly playing, but at the end of last season, I'm not sure that's a positive.
No, it's not. And did Rogers Cromartie make the final roster?
I believe he did, yes.
Because he was on the bubble. He was on the bubble. So I don't know what they're doing in the defensive secondary that improved them over what happened last year. I don't know if their defense is going to be as bad as I thought. They might be relatively still solid on defense. I know they don't have a tight end with Pitt out. They brought in Dallas Clark to try and fill that slot, but he's old.
Well, it looks like it's going to be Dixon, who had a hamstring pull. He's supposedly back, but it's still, he's not Pitta, to put it that way. I thought Pitta was going to break out this season.
So, yeah, they got Rogers Cromartie on the depth chart as the starting right cornerback.
I have no idea about this game, and I strongly believe Denver's going to win it. 7 points is too much to lay for a team that I also see a bunch of questions on.
Well, do you think there's any of the nobody believes in us again, and we're the Super Bowl champs? We're the only ones that have had to start on the road.
Yeah,
in this type of game. Would if I was John Harbaugh, would I not be saying, look at what these motherfuckers are doing to us? We win the Super Bowl. For whatever reason, if you have to draw the owner into it, why they couldn't get the stadium when you own it, you can't reschedule. It's got to be a concert of some kind. That you can't get the stadium on a Thursday, you know that the Super Bowl champ hosts the opening game. And you still can't make it work? I would be playing every factor I could into this defense. And Denver they had 29.5 sacks last year. Doomerville and Miller. That's basically their sacks for the year. Or the guys that contributed to getting other guys open to get a freaking sack.
Yeah.
What are they going to have? They got burnt with those guys playing last year in the playoffs deep. What the hell are they going to put up this year?
No, I'm with you, but I'm not with that opinion enough to take Baltimore either. I mean, I
don't want to take them, but I would take Baltimore with the 7.
And pool players, I think I am doing exactly that. I'm splitting this and taking Baltimore in the points.
I would take Baltimore in the points. Altitude might play a factor, conditioning. I think Baltimore has too much pride, and I think their defense might be a little better than we think, and I think Denver's defense is going to be worse than we think. This Von Miller thing basically disrupts their whole pass rush.
And that's magnified by Doomerville.
Yeah.
Playing on the other side.
How many teams, like when you look at the
how many teams have lost a player because of a fax snafu? Like, how drunk is Denver's head office? We know we have 2 criminal charges. or misdemeanor charges, I guess. There, but seriously, in this day and age, you lost Doomerville because you couldn't operate a fax machine?
Well, and then they tried to blame it on the agent. But if you want the guy, you figure it out before midnight when you have to worry about a fax getting through.
Yeah, unless you're deciding, we'll wait till the last minute and you're getting way too cute. Anyway, I'm staying away from the game, but pool players, I'm splitting them. I think Baltimore has a really good chance to cover this.
I think they might win it outright. Rice and Pierce, it's good value at plus 255 in my opinion. 7's way too high for the opening game of the year.
Fair enough. Moving to the Sunday, where real football begins. Our first game is a tarbender? Barn burner was the word I was looking for there. It's also the first bet on our free 6-game kickoff parlay. It is Atlanta +3 going into New Orleans.
I love Atlanta in this game.
I don't.
Get the fuck out of here.
I love Atlanta. I love the preseason bets we made on Atlanta. But you know what this is going to be? This is going to be Sean Payton coming back like Caesar.
No, I don't care.
The Superdome is going to be absolutely out of control. The Saints are going to be out of control.
I don't care.
No,
Sean Payton cannot
this is the
make
first
that
game of the FU season from New Orleans.
It's not. To me, they're one of the most overrated teams coming into the year. All this hype because of Sean Payton going to be calling plays on the offense. Drew Brees still threw for 5,300 yards last year. It didn't mean fuck all. They were 6-10. That defense couldn't stop a CFL team last year.
Yeah, but Atlanta...
They have fucking Rob Ryan as their D coordinator. What are people looking at? How in the fuck...
This is an emotion game, man. If this were any other week, I would be with you.
No.
But this is the week New Orleans... It's like the New Orleans-Atlanta game that began the post-Katrina thing.
I don't
Something
care.
fucked up is going to happen, and New Orleans is going to win this game.
It's not. Their defense can't stop shit. They can't stop shit.
On that point, in agreement with you,
Steven Jackson
if you just took the cumulative New Orleans pass defense, like any passer who played against them last year would have been the 5th-ranked passer in the league.
What has changed? What am I missing? What have they done magically? Put in a subpar D coordinator, haven't upgraded the defense at all. Vilma's out.
Subpar is generous, too, for the bearded Ryan.
Yeah, Vilma's out. Their best linebacker's out. They have nothing on defense that has upgraded that team. What success has Rob Ryan had as a D coordinator? He had more talent in Dallas, and they sucked on defense.
Yeah, he got overrated for making a bad group of Raiders look pretty good. But teams weren't really going for the jugular by about halftime against the Raiders then, were they?
No. I don't know what I'm missing. I know they have a good offense. That's half the game. If they can even get on the field, the offense, what is that crowd going to do if Atlanta gets up 10-0? How are they stopping Tony Gonzalez, Roddy White, and Julio Jones with Steven Jackson in the backfield, who should be rested because he hardly got used the last 2 years in fucking St. Louis? What am I missing? Atlanta was a fucking play away from going to the Super Bowl. And they're playing a 6-10 team and they're dogs. I don't get it.
All right.
They're 8-1 to win the division. or to win the NFC. And they're dogs in New Orleans. What in the fuck am I missing?
You're missing the crazy emotion, but on the other hand, you make a compelling argument against it.
Emotion only takes you so far. You still have to have some talent. They were underrated.
Well, and they're absolutely loaded with talent on one side of the ball. And Atlanta's defense doesn't really impress me a whole fucking bunch either.
Okay, Atlanta's not loaded on offense?
Atlanta's got a decent offense, and scores in the high middle of the pack each and every year.
Atlanta's 3 skill position players on the receiving end and running back. Those 4 are as good.
Okay, yeah.
I will give
why
you
don't they
Breeze
score
is
more
better.
points?
I will give you Breeze is better. I don't see how Atlanta loses this game. I don't want to take them outright because the payoff's not enough in our bet. I want to bet this game Atlanta +3. They're +100.
Okay,
giving 3.
Okay, you made your argument and you swayed me. So as first slot on our kickoff special, we're definitely taking Atlanta at +3.5.
If you don't want to take that game on our regular bets, fine.
Okay,
but I'll fight.
We'll
you to
discuss
the death
it though.
over that.
On the
bet.
kickoff bet, I'm absolutely swayed. We might find something better on our other bets, but no, you make a really good argument.
And here's one other point: if New Orleans is that much better, why are they just getting the 3 points that the home team always gets built in, no matter how shitty they are? So if you see a 7-point spread for a road favorite, that's actually 10. Because they've already taken out the 3, basically. So how the home team starts with 3, they go to -7. That's a 10-point fucking difference. So how are they saying that? They're basically saying it's a pick 'em.
Yeah.
So how can we not take them +3.5?
Okay. We'll discuss it for a later bet. You've won me definitely on the start of our parlay. But we're at 18 minutes and we've done 2 games.
Well, that was one. I'm passionate. I'm sick of New Orleans and Drew Brees getting this hype and Sean Payton. They ran the same offense last year and were 6-10. Even I don't know what he's going to do for the defensive side of the fucking ball.
They were really 5-11 without Goodell's fix in that Chargers game too.
And if they brought in, say, Wade Phillips, D coordinator, I would have a different take. But they brought in fucking Rob Ryan. Sorry. They got to prove it to me. If I have to change my mind throughout the year, I will. But until they prove that they can stop a nosebleed on defense, I'm betting against them. Moving on. Sorry.
Great. No, that was a great argument. You presented your case well on that. Our next game up, Cincinnati is +3 going into Chicago.
And I love the road dogs this week. How was Chicago?
I really like Cincinnati on this. We're both big on Cincinnati if you listen to our preseason.
I think we could bet the money line on this one.
I've got that written down in my notes, Boyd.
We don't need the points. Chicago's offensive line didn't
3
improve.
points means nothing here.
They have 1 receiver and a running back. No offensive line.
Brand new coach. The defense, while ranked high last year, looks old and creaky to me and had a statistically absurd number of turnovers and defensive scores last year.
Yeah, but
I
half
don't
of those
see that
in one
holding
game.
up.
Half of those happened in the one game against the Titans.
Not quite half, but some of them.
A third.
But in any case, defensive scores are something that is fluky. They cannot be predicted.
That was New Orleans Super Bowl year. This is my whole argument with them. That defense was no good either.
Don't go back to the games we've covered, Boyd.
But, yeah. It's so fitting to that. your point is the New
point's
Orleans when they
made,
won the
yes.
Super Bowl. That was how they did it.
Okay, I like this bet on the money line.
Okay.
We're getting plus 135.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Their defense in Cincinnati is going to carry them, I think, more than the offense this year. The offense is good enough. They're going to be scary on defense.
The offense is okay. It's got some speed. Dalton is Matt Ryan. He's Schaub. He's not going to be
he's
Drew
better
Brees.
than Schaub. He's better than Schaub.
Okay, but, he's not going to be spectacular. But he's become a very steady quarterback in the last couple of years.
And the thing that I like is the players on offense and the team believes in him, which is just as important at quarterback as anything. They will follow him. And some quarterbacks, they don't. If they don't believe in the quarterback, you can see it. And Chicago, I think the other receivers run routes like Randy Moss because they know the ball's going to Brandon Marshall. It's like, why am I even running my route?
Yeah, and the Brandon Marshall taking the week off. Oh, no, this was planned for months. No, it wasn't. He's got those depression problems and all of that, and I think he's on a down cycle. I'm not wishing for that, but something doesn't seem to be meshing there.
And if there was something wrong with his hip, now he's saying everything's fine. Doctors say, everything's cool with the hip. So something doesn't add up.
Exactly. There are warning flags going up in Chicago right now.
And if you're an AFC conference favorite like Cincinnati is, you don't lose to a team with a slightly above average quarterback, one receiver, and a running back. You can take those two of those three out of the game.
Well, let's bet this on the money line right now. I think this is one of our $10 bets.
Ooh, beautiful. We got even better news. The money's coming in on Chicago. That line moved.
Really?
It's plus 140 now.
Oh, I'll take the extra nickel.
20 minutes. So our $10 bet pays $24.
No, I like that bet. That was one of my favorite bets of the week. Didn't think you'd argue much on that.
No, I looked at that and I'm going, how is Chicago favored? How many games are they going to be favored in?
I actually had it arrowed, and I thought Cincy was going to be favored.
Me too.
And then I went back to it, and I'm going, oh, wait a minute, I'm actually getting some points here. Bonus.
Yeah. So pool, I'm going both ways.
Oh,
Cincy.
Absolutely. Next game up, Kansas City at Jacksonville. Kansas City on the road are 4-point favorites, which says something about Jacksonville.
This one could be in the mix if we can't find anything.
I kind of agree. I like KC a lot in this. I don't like laying 4 on KC particularly, but...
New offense, new coach. Got Charles, Dwayne Bowe, Alex Smith. Bowe's going to have
Travis Kelce,
a
their new
monster.
tight end, who I like.
Bowe is going to have a huge year.
It's a contract year for him as well.
And Alex Smith is going into an offense very similar to what he played in San Francisco, the West Coast short pass offense. Don't have to worry about his arm strength, anything like that. Charles is going to rush for 1,600 yards again. They could be a sleeper playoff team in the AFC if it falls right for them.
Yeah, I have strong concerns about their O-line, but I don't think Jacksonville is going to be the team to expose that.
No. And Justin Blackman's out for 4 games, their best receiver.
It's still Gabbert.
Yeah. And he's coming off a broken thumb.
About that.
Well, he's coming off a broken thumb, so it could be Henny.
They're saying God, I'd rather it was Gabbert.
And I think
Henny, frankly, scares me more than Gabbert.
Yeah, but Kansas City's defense is going to be better than people think, too. It was strong the last couple of years.
It was strong last year. I mean, they were close in a lot of those games in that horrifically bad season last year. And I don't think they lost many pieces. I could be wrong.
No,
But,
they're going to be strong on D.
no, I think this is definitely possibly in the mix. I'm in agreement.
Okay,
I'm taking KC both ways in the pool.
me too.
Next game up, we are going at a pick'em with Miami visiting Cleveland.
Stay away.
Yeah, I agree with the stay away, but I think Cleveland is vastly overhyped.
Me too. What is happening with that? Love their people telling. Well, we both listened to Simmons and Sell
I
on
was
his podcast.
about to say I think that there's a lot of ESPN who got along with Lombardi or something.
They still
North
stink
Turner's
on
a
offense.
terrific offensive coordinator, but who are the receivers?
Well, the only one I know is Jordan Cameron, and that's because you brought him up in the fantasy draft.
Yeah, and then traded him.
Yeah, but anyway, they I don't know any of the receivers. I looked at the roster, still didn't know any of the receivers. Defensively, they might be good, but how are they scoring points? They're like in their Simmons podcast. If Whedon does this, and if this happens, and Norv Turner this, and they have Trent Richardson.
They didn't have a kicker on the roster on Sunday.
No, they signed Billy Cundiff.
Well,
today.
and that's fine, but I get the impression Lombardi may have been playing too much fantasy football. And, just thought, okay, I can grab one off the waiver wire here. I don't know. I do not understand why Cleveland is getting the respect it's getting.
No, we took them under 6.
Yeah, and I'm
wins.
still not going to, you're right, it's a stay-away game, but pool-wise, I am all with the Dolphins.
Yeah, and I don't know if Miami's going to be any better.
I think they're better. I just don't know that they're much better.
We'll see how Cleveland does against the pass rush.
Wheaton can't throw the ball more than 30 yards downfield. I swear
Although
to God.
Didn't Cleveland beat Cincinnati week 1 last year?
Well, yeah, their season was another
Or come very
success.
close. No, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Week 1.
Yeah,
But
and Cleveland,
I
I stay away, but I'm taking Miami in the pool.
Yes, same.
The next game is the second of our kickoff special freebie bet at Sports Interaction.
This is probably my toughest one.
Minnesota is plus 4.5 on our kickoff bet and plus 5.5 going to Detroit.
I like Detroit only because Christian Ponder is the quarterback in Minnesota. And I'm not sure what Minnesota's defense is going to do this year. Lost Antoine Winfield. I don't know who their corner is to replace him. I think the other corner they had was arrested last year for some domestic abuse charge and was suspended. If it wasn't for Adrian Peterson, I wouldn't even be thinking about this game.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Detroit can stop him.
Detroit's whole secondary is a disaster. The reason I favor Detroit, even though I'm really uncomfortable with laying points on them, is that their defensive line looks good. And I'm thinking specifically of the first quarter in that Patriots game.
Yeah, they were pounding Brady.
Yeah, they were just like a wave through that line, and that wasn't with a lot of linebackers coming. And, Minnesota on offense has Adrian Peterson. Detroit.
But that's it.
Yeah, Detroit has, Reggie Bush, who I think is going to be a nice fit in that offense. They've still got, by far, the best wide receiver in the game. in Calvin Johnson. 4.5 is high. I don't want to bet this outside.
No.
But I think for...
we have to go Detroit.
Our free bet, we've got to go Detroit.
And the other thing that gives me pause on that is Detroit has fucked us 6 ways every Sunday whenever we've bet them. That's the other thing that gives me pause. Every time we bet them, they lose. When we bet against them, they screw us. So that's the only thing that gives me pause. I want to take Detroit on this. It just scares the living shit out of me because of how many times they've burnt us in the past. And I think
that's
the one
true,
year,
but that's not a good reason
no,
not to take them. We both know
it's not.
That doesn't affect things. And
no, I know. But we made a rule one year we weren't going to bet any more Detroit games. That's how many times we got screwed. So I'm just saying it makes me nervous picking them, knowing our past history of picking them. That's all. I'm not saying that's a reason not to pick them, but it makes me nervous picking them.
I think our rational points definitely overweigh that. But, yeah, I'm not going to make them part of our principal bets here.
And
though I kind of like Detroit this year, to be honest.
Reggie Bush fans, Lions targeted running backs with passes around 130 times last year. So if you've got him in fantasy, look out.
At this point in his career, he obviously doesn't have the speed of Sproles, but if he's used like Sproles...
he doesn't have the mileage on his legs.
Oh.
He was hardly used in New Orleans.
Sproles?
As a runner. No, Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Hardly is.
No, I like Bush a lot in fantasy here.
He doesn't have the mileage, which is going to be good for Detroit. They haven't had a top-flight running back since Stafford's been there, and they have LaShore for the goal line. Detroit could be a sleeper in the NFC if their defense holds up. Because their offense is going to put up 5,000 yards.
But again, I don't think Minnesota is going to test it because the weakness in Detroit's defense is in the secondary.
Yeah.
I think that they are going to be capable of, if not stopping Adrian Peterson, limiting his ability to win the game.
No. He'll probably get 100 yards, but if they'll lose 28-10, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
I think he's more interested in trying to break Dickerson's record than winning football games anyway. Because he knows how bad Ponder is. He's got to carry the ball 370 times for them to have a shot at winning.
Yeah. That's... okay.
Cool, I'm going Detroit both ways.
Yeah, me too. I don't like the points, I'll be honest. It seems a little high for those NFC North battles, but I will still always come down on Detroit in this one. Next game, New England minus 10.5 going to Buffalo. The third game of our 6-game free kickoff parlay.
Well, I'm taking New England. I hope you're in agreement.
Oh, yeah.
Buffalo's going to be one of the worst teams in football this year. Unless E.J. Manuel is part Colin Kaepernick and part Russell Wilson. They have no hope.
Adrian Peterson to recover from his injuries like some sort of alien beast.
Well, and they have Manuel might start at quarterback. I was looking at the Bills website. I was looking online all over to see who the starting quarterback was going to be. They don't know yet. It's Wednesday. And they have a new
second
coach.
Is Tool, right? Or is he called him that Tool?
Yeah, Tool, and then I think they cut Leinart, didn't they?
Yeah, they bounced Leinart out of town right away.
Who'd they sign? Because Cobb's not on the he's on IR. Who do they have?
I don't even know they have a third QB.
Oh well.
Yeah, New England all the way. I still don't want to put it in the mix.
No.
Week 1, I hate laying 10.5. I hate it.
I love it for my fantasy. Amendola from Brady. Touchdown. Should be a few picks. You have
I got Brady in my second league too, so I'm not upset. Spiller's going to be good. Fred Jackson, always the forgotten guy, is still a hell of a football player and a hell of a man, but
that's Spiller
you cannot face New England with a running game. You are not going to win. You just are not going to win.
The Spiller thing, he's only carried those 3 seasons, 170, 180 times a year? And now he's going to carry it for 320? Is he going to hold up? If he holds up, fine. But Chris Johnson had to answer those questions for 3-4 years. Are we using him too much? Is he too fragile? Well, he hasn't got hurt yet, but can Spiller hold up? Will there be a suspension in his future? Who knows?
Yeah. I'm taking New England both ways, but I don't want to lay 10.5 here.
No.
All right. Next up, we have Oakland journeys to Indianapolis. 9.5 points is what I'm looking at.
Yeah. I don't want to touch this game with a 10-foot pole.
No, and to the point where I think I'm going to split it. And
yeah, take Oakland and the points and Indy to win.
Yeah. I just don't trust this Indy team.
Too many changes again.
I looked at their crazy run last season. It was an aberration. It was an outlier.
Yeah, too
based
many weird
on any
wins.
number I can find, that team should have won like 4 games less than they did. Maybe it'll continue, and you know I'm a huge Andrew Luck fan, but I don't know. I have no idea what I'm looking at when I look at Indy. No idea.
Weren't they the first team to have a record like that with a negative point differential in the history of the NFL?
Did it end up negative, like on the whole Pythagorean?
They were negative.
Wow.
They were negative. So their defense isn't good. They lost Freeney. I don't think Mathis is back. I don't know where they're getting their pass rush from. Maybe Mathis is still there, but they don't have Freeney. Freeney's going to be surfing in San Diego.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know I don't like their defense. I know Andrew Luck threw about 13 balls into the hands of the defender that were dropped. You know, everyone always talks about, oh, the quarterback would have been better, but his receiver dropped this many balls. Well, defenders can drop too. Obviously at a higher percentage. Otherwise they'd be playing, but...
Okay, Robert Mathis is still there. But, okay, they got LaRon Landry at safety. I know him. Oh, they got Vontae Davis still, got cut by the Dolphins 2 years ago, who was a first-round pick. Antoine Bethea.
Vontae Davis wasn't cut, he was traded.
Or traded, but he was a bust in Miami.
Yeah,
that's the only guys I know on their defense. And LaRon Landry was hurt for the last couple of years and looked like he'd ingested, and allegedly, about 8 pounds of steroids. Looking at his Twitter pics, he looked like a bodybuilder, not a football player. So I'd
say hello to Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, I don't think...
I like the potential of T.Y. Hilton, but Kobe Fleener?
Well, he was supposed to be Luck's security blanket because they played together at Stanford, but it's not really happening. He didn't really light teams up last year with Fleener. So I don't know what...
I hate to say I'm taking Oakland in the points, especially Indy at home, but I think Indy's going to regress monstrously this year, and right now I want to stay away from them until they prove me wrong.
Yeah. I agree.
So I'm splitting that. The next game is a road favorite. Seattle are 3.5-point favorites coming into Carolina.
It's 4 now.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
I like Carolina.
I think I know everybody's saying Seattle's going to compete for the NFC. I think they're one of the regression teams this year.
I agree.
How has that not been a story? How many games did they win like that? Like, not just the Green Bay game.
Well, yeah, the Detroit game, which fucked
New
us.
England? New England game? Where they threw a 60-yard pass with 2 minutes left to win that game after they were down 10 in the fourth quarter? Like,
everyone's anointing Seattle as the next heroes of the NFC, and they're a good team. Half their team, I swear to God, is suspended. They're going on the road to Carolina, who I think there's terrible coaching and terrible GMing going on there, but that's a talented team.
They're also missing a bunch of their defensive line, has issues with injury. It's not the same team. Their defensive secondary is one of the tops in football. There's no question about that. But is that a factor of their pass rush? If they don't get the pass rush, are they going to have the same type of success? We've seen it.
Oh, and even last
everywhere.
year, though, too. They were a different team on the road than at home.
Yeah, they struggled on the road.
And that's where those crazy comeback victories. I mean, Green Bay. Did they win that game? I still don't know. Right? They got that win out of replacement refs.
And their best defensive lineman isn't playing week 1.
I like Carolina in this game. I don't know if we have the fucking stones.
With the points, or just we might as well take them outright if we're going to take it.
3.5. Let's take the points. That half point makes all the difference, and now it's 4.
Well, it's 4.
Yeah, I say we take the points on this and put them in the mix.
Okay, that'll be in the mix.
That 3 to 4 point margin is big for me.
We might have to do an upset parlay here.
Hey, it's week 1.
Somewhere.
Never a better time to try it. But yeah, okay, I'm glad you were kind of with me on that thinking. I thought we were going to get into a bigger fight there.
No, but honestly, they talk about regression in Indy. How is Seattle not in that conversation? Like, what numbers did Russell Wilson put up? Like, he had a couple of good games.
And he progressed strongly. And, hey, I'm not against Russell Wilson here, but
who's he throwing to in Seattle?
Yeah, they sold a bunch for Percy Harvin.
He's out.
Who's he got? Golden Tate? I still say that's the name of my dog, not a football player.
I'm strongly for this in the mix. We'll see if we find anything else.
Okay.
I wish this was on our 6 free bet thing, but
oh well. Hey, it's free bets. So we can't really get too
complain.
Fussy. All right, our next game is Tampa minus 3.5 at the Jets.
Man, I wish this was 3. Fuck.
Yeah.
I almost want to take, because of the numbers there, of Tampa minus 3.5 because it's plus 100. Like, there's value in that bet. Sanchez is questionable. They have no receivers. Defense is a mess. 3 wins might be a lot for the Jets this year. Tampa's got a good running game. Their secondary is very strong. Freeman just has to not cost them the game. And they should cover this easy.
And 2 years ago, well, 3, I guess now, Freeman was good.
And his offensive line,
I don't know why I feel like he's due to return to a quarterback I like to watch.
Well, I hope he's not that good.
3.5 as a road favorite.
Yeah, but the Jets are like bad. They're like Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville Jaguars, bad. Kellen Winslow isn't even starting at tight end for them. That's how bad they are.
Well, let's put it in the mix, but we both are feeling bad feelings up our spine about taking it. Let's put it in the mix. Really?
I'm not really, no. If we lay 3.5 and with the plus 100, there's value. There's value in that bet. The only reason the Jets, they're like not like a Pittsburgh, but they've got irrational fans. They get more coverage than they should ever get, just based because they play in New York and Rex Ryan's the coach.
Well, just playing in New York, frankly.
They have Jeff Cumberland at tight end, Stephen Hill's a wide receiver.
And Jeremy Curley. Don't forget Jeremy Curley.
Jeremy Curley. And the one sleeper I tried to get in our fantasy, a running back, Bilal Powell, is starting running back. So there's not a lot there. I like their center. They got a pylon that used to be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but isn't this the Jets? Doesn't their center go down?
Does anybody
early and often?
Does anybody remember Hard Knocks with the Jets? That Ducase? He couldn't block. He was a revolving door. He's their left guard. They got Willie Colon from the Steelers, who was a revolving door at right guard. They can't protect Sanchez. Sanchez is awful. I called it from the start. It's the one thing I'll hang my hat on from the time we started this fucking podcast, is I called Mark Sanchez a dud. When everybody was telling me what poise and shit he had a season.
The intangibles. He would drive the car. I still remember Dilfer on Simmons' pod just saying, if all those 4 guys got together, they'd hand him the card keys. And I just thought, are you gay or do you just hang out at gay bars? Like, seriously, that's the most ridiculous metaphor for success as an NFL quarterback I've ever
But
heard.
how come these guys won't own it? Like, if I'm pick something wrong, like if I'm wrong on the Saints, I'll fucking own it. They won't own Sanchez. Nobody does. Now they all criticize him. But they won't come out and say, well, I had this guy all wrong. Nobody, not one fucking guy will come out and say I had it wrong. Because they all knelt at his fucking feet and thought, oh, great quarterback coming out of USC. Name me a fucking quarterback out of USC that's done any fucking thing. Somebody, anybody.
Wow, I got nothing. Okay, definitely in the mix and stronger in the mix.
Pat Hayden, last one.
Wow, that's going deep.
And for any of you out there that remember who Pat Hayden is, fuck, good on you. Because most won't.
Okay, our next game up is off the board by our own rules because Boyd is a Titans fan. It is Tennessee +7 versus Pittsburgh. And I like Tennessee.
I would say in the pool, split it. Tennessee's 0-3 in Pittsburgh. I might even go Pittsburgh both ways. 0-3 in Pittsburgh last 3 games.
How the fuck is
Outscored
Pittsburgh a
84-35.
9.5 over-under team?
I have no idea.
Their defense is collapsing. Their offense has lost its receivers. Ben Roethlisberger has been absolutely beat like a piñata for 3 years. At some point, the fat man is going down for the count. Like, they have no running game.
No, they're running back by committee. I'm with you.
Why the fuck does anyone not consider Pittsburgh in the bottom echelon of teams this year?
Well, part of the numbers are based on how much people are going to bet on them.
Oh,
the Steelers have a big
I know that's
following.
part of it, but I see nothing in Pittsburgh. Unless they, and let's face it, historically, their scouting department, for the last 20 years, has been able to replace linebackers regardless with the next great linebacker. All of this, all of that, unless they pull another fucking rabbit out of their hat, I see nothing in Pittsburgh. I see them as 3 wins better than the Chargers, but that's it. I don't see it, and I'm not going to take Tennessee straight up, but I am definitely taking the points on them.
Yeah, and if Roethlisberger goes down, their backup's Bruce Gradkowski. The one thing I will say that you haven't heard a lot about him in the preseason, but Marcus Wheaton is supposed to be a talented receiver. So when they go 3, he might be a X factor for that. I can't see him winning more than 7, maybe 8 games. Just because I think they might beat Cleveland twice, but weren't they 7-9 last year? Or 6-10? What have they done to upgrade?
They've done nothing to upgrade. They've lost their deep threat. The O-line, like I said, Roethlisberger may be a detestable human being, allegedly, but he's a warrior. But how long can he take this punishment?
The only thing
every year I just watch him play and I'm thinking, good God, man, will you not die? It's like watching Joe Frazier box.
The only thing I can think of that they're banking on them winning 9.5 games or 9 is that their defense goes back, because they still have a lot of the same names from when their defense was dominant. Kiesel, Woodley, Foote, Timmons, Ike Taylor, Polamalu, Ryan Clark.
I saw a Polamalu commercial and I'm just thinking, wow, when was the last time he really dominated the game?
No, I know. So
everyone talks about the decline of Ed Reed. Polamalu has dropped off the face of the earth as a meaningful player.
And does he stay healthy?
Never. And I said that in year 4 of him. That's like a call of me. I'm just going, the way he plays, he's like my favorite defensive player to watch, except I know I'm only going to watch him half a year.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope Tennessee can keep it competitive.
In pool, I'm taking Tennessee. 7 points is too much for the Steelers. This Steelers team, in my opinion, right now, should not be laying 7 points to anybody.
No. But that just goes to show, well, they had Tennessee at like 7, over under 7 or 8.
And I'm not blown away by your Tennessee team, but...
Don't believe me, I'm not either.
But 7?
All I'm hoping for...
Mind you,
I
forgot,
is a surprise
we have
team.
to allow for the 3 inexplicable calls in the Steelers' favor.
Well, I hope you're wrong.
Well, they happen. Where you're just staring at your TV, jaws on your chest, and you're going, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, the last...
And don't forget that pigsty of a stadium they have.
Oh, yeah, they played a game
which will be
last
4
night.
inches of mud. So any team that is faster than the Steelers will be sucked up to their ankles in dirt to disguise the Steelers' lack of team speed.
Well, I think...
I hate the Steelers.
Well, probably not as much as I do, but I like the venom.
Okay.
They played a college game there last night, Florida State Pitt, and they'll probably play 5 high school games there before Saturday.
Yeah.
It seems to be the only stadium in Pittsburgh where they can play. So, I agree. The field there is always terrible. I don't know what they're doing at running back. The receivers are somewhat unproven. And the offensive line has been porous for 3 years now?
Yeah.
Minimum?
Oh, yeah, like I said, 3 years. Pinata. Roethlisberger.
I think they're going to finish third in that division.
Do you think if he breaks open, candy will come out?
Nah, probably Coors Light or something. Or
and
some
Mardi
shots.
Gras beads.
Yeah, or some shots. Oh, man.
Okay. Next game, Arizona plus 4.5 going to the Rams. The St. Louis Rams, at least currently.
Stay away. Stay away.
Yes, I honestly have no notes beside it. No idea on this.
I like Arizona. At least with
Is that just Fisher bitterness? Or
No, not at all. No, Marlon, I was ready for Fisher to go. He was like Andy Reid in Philly. It was time.
Yeah, okay.
I said it a couple of years before. There's no Fisher bitterness.
No,
I still like him as a
saying,
coach.
You made the argument that he wasn't a very good coach, and a very cogent argument, but...
Well, it wasn't that he wasn't a good coach. He was behind what was happening in there. He was still trying to win with 4 yards and a cloud of dust when the league had turned to passing. That was where my frustration. You can't win 17-16 when teams are scoring 30 points. It's just the way the league's gone. Everybody's going to a passing attack with running used to end the game, not to help you win the game. At least the successful teams' recent history. The passing teams seem to win. So Bradford, they still have no receivers. They're waiting. They're hoping this Tavon Austin, the rookie they drafted, is going to be the guy.
He's a slot guy anyway. All he's going to do is do what Amendola, with better speed and hopefully less injury. It's not like they've added Calvin Johnson or Randy Moss to the mix here.
No. But it's just Arizona's defense. I know their numbers don't look great.
Oh, they were
but
good.
Opportunistic defense, one of the best in football. The games they won last year were because of the defense.
They had literally no offense last year.
Kevin Cobb.
And that defense still finished fairly highly ranked, and I think, underranked. Arizona had no offense. That defense is a tremendous unit.
They have at receiver Chris Givens and Tavon Austin. With, I think, Jared Cook could be a wild card in St. Louis because I think he was vastly underutilized in Tennessee.
By Fisher,
the talent he had. Initially with Fisher, yes. But if you remember, Fisher used the tight end a ton before.
Well, he used to, yeah.
And then they didn't. And
also, St. Louis's defense was really good last year as well.
Yeah.
So we're not going to bet it, but I say bet the under and flip a coin on this motherfucker.
I would split it, just because to me it's a coin flip. Try and get a point if you can on either side, and even if St. Louis wins and covers, you still get one.
And I bet the under because these are two underrated and very good defenses facing very, very iffy offenses.
But I do like the fact that Larry Fitzgerald has a somewhat legitimate quarterback again, which has got very little play. Well, Palmer put up 22 touchdowns, 14 picks last year.
For the Raiders, it wasn't like they had a whole ton of weapons. Yeah, no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald has a quarterback. He was getting open last year. They just couldn't get him the ball.
I really like the under at 41. I'm not suggesting we bet it.
No.
You hate betting the over-unders. But I'm going to go on record as saying I call this game an under.
Okay. I hate if we ever bet over-under, we're taking over. I hate praying for guys not to score because it always seems they do. That meaningless field goal to make it a 10-point game.
Or that
42.
That punt return that fucks you in a defensive struggle.
Yeah, it's 21-14 with
You're
3
thinking,
minutes
okay,
left.
another 3 and out, and boom. All of a sudden, Devin Hester will come and haunt your nightmares. But let's move on to the next game. One of the featured games of the week, obviously. And part of our kickoff special, Green Bay plus 4.5 going to the North California coast.
Okay.
At San Francisco, if you needed clarification.
On our free 16 parlay, San Francisco.
Yeah.
At minus 4.5. Now in our bets, 4.5's a lot, but I don't want to bet it. I think San Francisco is going to cover this fairly easily.
I think so too. I thought for a second there you were going to make an argument for Green Bay, and I was going to throw New Orleans right back at your face because
their defense is putrid.
Green Bay's defense is terrible, and what have they done to improve it? Nothing.
Just lost Charles Woodson, who got him 5-6 turnovers a year.
Yeah, and he blew a lot of coverages and is a hugely overrated player. But who did they replace him with?
Their defense hasn't changed at all, to me. Clay Matthews will still get some sacks, but he couldn't catch.
He's overrated too. The flowing locks.
No, he's not overrated because he produces, Marlon. You can't say he's overrated. He has no help. A.J. Hawk is the overrated one on that defense. Matthews at least produces. Rated. No, but Matthews at least produces.
But then will disappear for 6 weeks when they double team him. Because if you give him in the chest and then a chip, he never gets close.
And in that game last year, in the playoff game, they had him turned around so much. He was running the wrong way on some of those quarterback runs. Like running the wrong way. So on defense,
he was built to take down statues. I think Green Bay's defense is terrible. San Fran's offense, this is the big question mark. This is why I don't want it as one of our mixed games. I have no idea what we're going to see out of the San Fran offense.
Oh, I think you're going to see a replay of the playoff game last year. They don't have the D line or the linebackers to stop that running game.
No, but a huge part of that Green Bay game, too, was Crabtree making clutch grabs over the middle for first downs.
So what's wrong with
everyone remembers Kaepernick running like a gazelle. Who is going to take those catches that Crabtree is not there to take?
Anquan Bolden. He's like an older version of Crabtree. I don't think they miss.
I hope so, because I've always thought Bolden is the best number 2 receiver I've ever seen in my life. I'm a big fan of Bolden. Tough guy.
He's Crabtree, older Crabtree to me.
Okay, that's
reasonable. What he did. What did he do for Baltimore last year in the play? That's all he did. They had Jones and
actually he caught 2 big outside passes that Flacco, a guy I don't like, generally just dropped right in the basket. But yeah, no, I see your point. If you need a tough middle possession guy when everyone's huddling the line for the run play, spying on Kaepernick, yeah, you're right.
And they still have Frank Gore.
And Kendall Hunter, who's not bad, and a new rookie they drafted.
Well, is Kendall Hunter out? He's not even listed on their depth chart.
I saw that he was probable earlier today, but I'm not standing by that.
Yeah, he's not on the depth chart right now. They got LaMichael
I just
Jenkins
have him super deep on one fantasy roster. That's the only reason I'm aware of that injury chart. So this by no means is super solid information.
Let's just hope Kaepernick doesn't go down this year. They got Colt McCoy as the backup.
He could be Alex Smith with no arm.
I think San Francisco wins this one 14-17 points.
I
Their
think,
offensive
but
line.
I don't want to put it in our mix right now.
No.
I've got too many questions right now. I wouldn't call it a veto if you were adamant, but
No.
I just want to see what the Niners look like in the regular season right now.
No, that's a fair assessment. I think they're going to be better than Seattle. I think offensively they're light years ahead of Seattle.
I think so too. I mean,
and their defensive line.
Something our good friend Mitch said to me last year was Pete Carroll just charms the fuck out of the media. And I think we're seeing a bit of that with how Seattle is rated.
Could very well be. The thing nobody really... Well, they do. They talk about it somewhat. Rodgers is great. Yes, I'll agree with that. Their offensive line has been no better than Chicago. And we kill Chicago for that. And Cutler. Because of that. Because...
And their
Rodgers
running game in
better.
Green Bay has been terrible. And I don't see anything changing with all these draft picks they threw at it.
Well, unless Eddie Lacy is as good as he was for Alabama last year, I don't know how that changes. Unless their play action pass starts working again. They're
it's
loaded
all
at
about the O-line. We both know that. Ultimately.
And if the defense can't get off the field for Green Bay, I could have Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana, and Steve Young combined, and it doesn't fucking matter.
And I agree. Aaron Rodgers is that amazing, and he's disguising a lot of the deficiencies in this Green Bay team.
Yeah. And is Jordy Nelson going to stay healthy for more than a game at a time? The receiving core is getting thin, too. So
yeah, it's starting to wear out. And Jermichael Finley, every year I hear that he's turned the corner.
And it never happens.
Yeah, no, he seems to stop for gas or maybe a snack or whatever.
Well, he's got Jermaine Gresham hands. He can't hang on to the fucking ball.
Well, and he runs sloppy routes. That's what's killing him, I think. It's not even the hands.
Well, no, but if he's
just
open, he
doesn't seem
it.
to care. He lacks the focus of the guys who are really great.
All the talent in the world. But, okay, well, I think we've covered that one enough.
All right, so we're taking Niners there.
Yes, both ways.
Okay, the next game, also part of our kickoff special. The Giants plus 3.5 at Dallas. Wow, I go crazy. I got no opinion.
I like Dallas.
I kind of do too.
Cruz is banged up, starting running backs out with a broken leg.
No. That he was the number 2 back.
Was he? Brown was number 2?
Yeah. And in fact, I think he was number 2 in the doghouse. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in that week 4 preseason game. He fumbled twice in the preseason. That's why Wilson didn't have the starting job last year.
Yeah.
And Andre Brown came to some kind of prominence backing up Bradshaw. I think he was supposed to prove something to Coughlin and got his pin snapped.
Well, is the Giants' defense going to be any good this year? And here's another thing I forgot about.
Jets put up a bunch of points, and I don't know. I really don't fucking know on this game. Boy.
Well, the whole division is fucking a crapshoot. Now, the one thing I forgot to mention in Atlanta, Human is playing defensive end there this year too. If you want to talk about teams upgrading their defense.
Yeah, maybe. He's a head case, man.
I don't care. He's better than what they had. He's good, man. Atlanta's going to fucking roll this year.
When he's good, he's really good, but
how many times...
I certainly wouldn't build a long-term team on him.
No, but how many times do teams as good as Atlanta has been the last couple of years? I know they had success in the playoffs last year, How many up-and-coming teams with the amount of talent that they have isn't more of a favorite that Seattle and San Fran are above them? And Green Bay. Fuck, Green Bay is higher rated odds-wise than Atlanta to win the NFC. I got to get off Atlanta, but that just fucking blows my mind.
Okay.
So they have Jason Pierre-Paul, Justin Tuck,
Jason
Colin
Pierre-Paul had a few great games, but did you notice he seemed to really disappear?
But some of these guys...
For vast, huge periods of time, there was nothing about the octopus. There was nothing about what he was doing. He wasn't getting any penetration. It seemed like as soon as you double-teamed him, he was taken out of the game, and there was no one there in New York to pick up the slack.
And they also lost their starting safety out for the year. See, with Pierre-Paul, it might be, you know how teams, when you have to block guys one-on-one, when you can't double team, they have success?
Yeah.
Javon Curse with the Titans. Once you can block the other three guys one-on-one, you put two on him and a backer, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it was. And the Giants, when they won the Super Bowls, they were inserting those guys. Umanora, JPP.
Kiwanuka.
You know, they were floating in around. And once those guys started to fade off and not do it as a unit, they all went to hell.
And I don't care what anybody says, Romo's still a hell of a quarterback.
Yeah, no, I like Dallas in this game too, but I don't know why each and every year you and I fucking drink the Dallas Kool-Aid.
Well, it's Dallas and Detroit have screwed us every year.
Yeah.
But I don't want to base a pick based on that.
No, we can't, but you're right. Dallas is my pick here too, and I wish there wasn't that half point. I wish we were only looking at 3 in this game. But
yeah,
I'm on board with Dallas too.
If they can get any kind of a running game, that offense will be great.
Well, and I think a huge part is Jason Garrett is not calling any plays anymore, and that... Still hate that fucker for what he did to Wade Phillips, but he shouldn't be allowed to call plays.
Yeah, but is Bill Callahan...
How many games did they fuck up last year?
Yeah, but
last year we had them to win the East, and they lost 2 games. He iced his own goddamn kicker. What more do I have to say?
Yeah,
right?
He mismanaged the clock in, was it Arizona? Was that the clock mismanagement game?
There were 2 of them. There were 2 where he totally shot. There was icing your own kicker, and there was another one with like 90 seconds left where he decided to run the ball up the gut twice for a yard each and try a 54-yard field goal.
And I still don't mind their defense. Their defense is still pretty good.
Talent, if they can stay healthy. That defense is awesome when Ratliff is playing at 100%, but I don't think he'll ever play at 100% again. He's hurt again already. That's my worry there. He's the core of that. You get that nose tackle who absorbs 2 to 3 guys?
Yeah.
I still take Dallas in this game both ways.
Yeah, me too.
And as I said earlier, and you supported, being burned by them in the past doesn't matter. We can't let it affect it, but
no,
we still have that fear in you. We're human beings.
Do you know who their defensive coordinator is?
Kiffin.
Oh yeah, Monty
the elder.
Kiffin.
Yeah,
they're going to be better this year. Okay, that even makes it better. Yeah. love Dallas in this game now. He's got talent to work with. He made Tampa Bay good when they needed no any
everyone
of these
says,
guys.
"Oh, they're so old." You know what? I've seen a lot of ancient defensive coordinators look really good.
How come nobody makes LeBeau jokes in Pittsburgh?
Exactly.
He's a genius.
Yeah, my
7.
brain froze there. I was going to say, oh, that Pittsburgh guy still seems to be fucking with people's heads.
He's 70.
Gunther Cunningham has had reasonable success for a couple years every stop he makes.
Wade Phillips.
Yeah.
Defense is defense. That's the one thing that scares me about the Niners, too, that they'll have figured out this read option shit. But it ain't going to be Green Bay figuring that out.
No, definitely not. All right, next game and the final of our 6-game ticket. Philly plus 3.5 at Washington. I don't know how you feel, but I love Philly in this.
Me too.
Washington was another one of these. This is a regression team. What were they at? Like 2-5?
Well, they were 5-6 after 11 games and won their last 5. Or no, 4 out of their last. Didn't they finish 9-7 to win that? Yeah. The Dallas game was for the division again.
Again, yes. And screwed us on our bets 2 years in a row. Where all Dallas has to do is show up in week 17. Anyway.
Hey, you know what? We're not far off on Dallas either year.
Oh, no.
A play here or there costs us a bet, but I'll still stand by those picks, and I'll stand by the one this year.
And 1 year we actually hedged it, so
overall,
we ended up not losing much money because I believe I argued that then even if Dallas loses, we'll make the game bet and cover our end.
yes.
But okay.
I still think Dallas has the most talent in the division, whether that comes on both sides, like combined, they have the most talent. So, I don't know. I like Dallas. I'll stand by that.
I still like
Billy?
Dallas. I'm just... Hey, you bet on Dallas, you cheer for Dallas, there's going to be a lot of anger in your life.
Billy, I'm interested to see how this offense runs. Because in college, it was beautiful to watch.
And Philly on offense is talented.
Couldn't keep up. Defensively, they were gassed.
And I think Washington has way too many distractions going on right now.
Well,
RG3 has become such a polarizing figure now in sports with the injury.
When he doesn't shut up. Like, shut up. Who cares?
Why are you contradicting your coach? Why are you telling anyone when you're coming back? And,
it's ridiculous.
You know, Morris, love his story, wish him the best on the planet, but he benefited because of RG3. He's Daryl Richardson from the Rams if RG3 isn't the quarterback.
Yeah. And I think we may see a regression in all the top rookie quarterbacks from last year that has everybody wetting their jeans.
Well, actually, that's the argument we've just made, isn't it?
I think there's a regression in all of them.
Yeah. That hadn't struck me in exactly that way, but as we've gone through each game, we've both been agreeing on that.
Kaepernick, I think Kaepernick has the best
Kaepernick's
chance,
not a true rookie.
But I think he has the best chance.
I was thinking Russell Wilson.
Yes, but Kaepernick has the best chance to be successful this year because their overall team is better than the other teams we're talking about.
Yeah, he's still got to learn how to throw a touch pass.
Yes. But that
cost
you can
them
teach.
The Super Bowl.
They
had that touchdown right there, and he fired it like a fucking Sidewinder missile.
I still lay that on fucking Harbaugh, that last drive. Those last
I'm talking
plays.
about the earlier drive, which should have been a touchdown, turned into 3.
I know, but that last year at the 7, and you throw to the short side of the field 3 times in a row?
He's weak
to the
on
same
touch
guy?
pass. But that's something that can be taught.
Yes. You can't teach arm strength, right, Alex Smith?
Yeah. I mean... No, but okay, let's go back to the game here.
So yes, I like Philly in this game too.
I think there's too much expectation on Washington.
I think
I
Vic's gonna
still
have
don't trust
monster.
the genius Shanahan
or the genius's son.
Yeah, nepotism. I'm not a big fan of it.
Especially when he did nothing. If he went and worked somewhere else and worked his way up through the ranks and proved himself, fine. But just to bring him on as an offensive coordinator when he was quarterback coach in Denver.
And you've got this mind-blowing talent, and between you and your dad, you won't pull him from the game when he's obviously fucking hurt. There are command line issues there.
There's issue. Well, I think
if I'm the offensive coordinator and RG3 can barely walk, and you're leading him out against the most voracious defense probably in the league last year.
But the stupid thing was, it wasn't a hit that blew his knee out. It was a shitty field. Their field's as bad as Pittsburgh's, but
too, there was still a lot of coaching bullshit.
I know.
Like
I'm
Shanahan.
not
I've never liked Shanahan. Fuck him. Fuck him.
Yeah, I agree.
I want
Only
Philly in
place
this
he's
game.
ever won, he had a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Hall of Fame caliber running back. Had he played another 3 years, Davis would be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So
how'd he do with the Raiders?
Yeah, great.
Mr. fucking genius. And his self-written press release that described him as the ultimate leader and a true genius is still one of the funniest things ever. I've got to dig that up off the web. We'll throw it on the site. It's side-splitting. Stalin was humble in comparison to Shanahan.
Okay, we should get moving on. We got to be rolling at about $1.15 now.
Yeah, $1.22. But okay, and final game of the week, which we are not allowed to bet on. Houston at San Diego. Houston is only a shocking 4-point favorite going into San Diego.
It's got to be the travel.
Houston.
Yes, it's got to be the travel. Is the only reason it's 4.
J.J. Watt may get 7 sacks.
Peterson and Tate.
Okay. J.J. Watt has said he wants 20 tackles for a loss, 20 sacks, and 20 passes batted down. He could be a third of the way to all those goals by the end of this game.
And Foster and Tate might run for 100 yards each.
No, the defense isn't quite that horrific, maybe.
It's bad. It's going to be bad.
It's
best
bad,
player you have is your safety, and he's going to lead the team in tackles because they're going to be blowing holes through that D-line and linebacker core.
That's
Manti
the only good
Te'o.
player I got, baby.
I know. That's why I said.
Weddle is a hell of a player.
No, I love him. But he's all you got.
Yeah, and if you're betting... I seriously
Houston.
lay the points on Houston. Pound Houston.
You got to bet 200 to win 100, but do it. All right. So which games did? Okay, so we should recap our free bet. We have New England minus 10.5 at Buffalo. We have Atlanta plus 3.5 at New Orleans. Detroit minus 4.5 hosting Minnesota. San Francisco minus 4.5 hosting Green Bay. Dallas minus 3.5 at home against the Giants. And Philadelphia plus 3.5 on the road in Washington.
All right, book
Time
that.
to place your free bet now. Your picks are confirmed.
Okay, we have already bet Cincy on the money line for $10
Yes.
for a $2 or $24 payout. The three other games that we both agreed on were we like KC -4 at Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Perhaps surprisingly, we like Tampa Bay laying 3.5 at the Jets.
Yeah.
And we like Carolina plus 3.5 at home.
So what do we want to parlay one of two of those games?
Let's
Give us our three
parlay KC and Tampa Bay.
Okay. I'm not adverse to that. So we have Kansas City -4 at Jacksonville and Tampa Bay -3.5 at the Jets. Our $10 bet will pay $38.18. Booked. And then the other one, we're taking Carolina.
In probably our most surprising bet of the week, we are taking Carolina
+4 at -110. $10 bet pays $19.09. Booked. There's our picks. I actually love our picks on our own bets, and I'm quite confident in that. The one game that scares me the most is the Dallas game. Out of all those picks on our free bet.
Hey, you heard me. I didn't even want to talk about it. You know?
And just so people know, our free bet, that 16 parlay, pays $500 if we hit all six, which would be a nice way for the season to go and may cause us to increase our bets per week. You never know.
All right, I think we're done for this week.
That
was a lot of fun, Boyd.
That was a lot of fun. Now, for those of you wanting to find our podcast, you can go to iTunes, just search Offensive Lines, or go to our website, offensivelines.ca. You can download it or listen to it on the embedded player. Follow us on Twitter at Offensive Lines. Get updates on when we have new posts to the website or podcasts are available. Follow us on Facebook.com/Offensive Lines. And if you want to contact the show, email us at offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon. Now get down there and hit somebody.
Fuck, I love football.
Degenerate fucking gambler.